Most Planet Zoo animal models are beautiful, realistic, and accurate. However, a few of them definitely need some additional work to reach this level, and we need to talk about this. In this video, we'll check out 7 animals that need official remasters in Planet Zoo 2, in my opinion, of course. And I'm not talking about mods here, I'm talking about improved models made by Frontier officially for the game. I know what you're thinking, there is one animal that we all know will be in this list, but stay tuned for the other 6 animals that might surprise you. The top one, I think, will surprise you. And please share your thoughts in the comments below. What animals would you like to see remastered? Welcome back to my channel, Planet Estefania. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, I really appreciate it. So let's begin! In the slides, you're gonna see the Planet Zoo model on the left and a picture of the real animal on the right, for comparison. First up, we have the sun bear. In this model, something just doesn't feel right to me. I think it might be like the fur texture, which is I think too reflective of the sun and the lights that makes it look sort of like plastic. You know what I mean. I also think the skull, like this skull, should be a bit wider. Look at the image and compare it to the image. I think it's wider because the eyes overall look a lot smaller relative to the whole shape or size of the head. Here you can see that the proportions are different. And I think that is what is making me feel like this animal definitely needs a remaster. Now, my second remaster request is the sand cat. I think the main issue with this model is like the proportions. The head should be wider, I think, relative to the snout. You can see the snout over here, and you can see the head over here, including the fur, of course, but that is also part of the shape that you can see here. And you can see here that the overall face is like larger, or the head is smaller, I'm not sure which one, but the proportions here are not like accurate for the animal. The head is a bit too short for me. Also, look at the size of the forehead over here, the distance between the eyes and the end of the skull, and you can see that this here is a lot flatter. Also, the legs in the Planet Zoo model, I think they look a bit shorter and like wider or chubbier. In the real animal, they look more athletic, like the animal is ready to run or jump. And talking about cats, we have another cat. We go to the Pallas' cat. Same kind of issues than the sand cat. The head seems too wide for me, and the overall the size of the face compared to the size of the skull is like too large. The forehead is also flatter. Look at the forehead over here, and look at the forehead that we have in the Planet Zoo model. The overall proportions of the skull and the face look different, I think, and that's something that I would definitely fix in the remaster. Also, the fur texture looks kind of blurry. If you can see it over here, I think that's basically how it looks in the game. I know they were trying to make it look furry and fluffy, but I think the blurriness in this texture is a bit too distracting and unrealistic. I would go something for, I think, more like the sloth bear, where they got the hair texture right and it still looks like hair, fluffy but not blurry. So that is another thing for this remaster. And now we go to the Markhor. I have 2 main comments for this model. First, the eyes are too big, too large compared to the real animal or the proportions of the animal. Like they are like too rounded, I think. You can see the whole eye like open here, and the real animal has more like an almond shaped eye. Second, the beard should be a lot more dense. You can see the real beard over here, and this is the beard that we get in Planet Zoo. It should extend to the abdomen as well, and in Planet Zoo we basically don't have any hair in the abdomen of this model. That is something to consider, and just more hair, please. I also think the snout could be a bit longer and a bit like reshaped to look more natural here. You can see that it has sort of like a curve here before the nose. We don't see that in the model, it's just straight. And I think the snout is a bit shorter as well. This one is a bit longer. So those are minor details that I would also adjust. To me, the eyes and the beard are the priorities for this model. A similar animal that I would also suggest remastering is the reindeer. In this case, I think the eyes are, like the Markhor, way too rounded or way too large. I'm not sure if they are large or rounded, but something about the eyes doesn't look like natural to me. Maybe it's their shape, maybe it's their size, but I suggest working on that again. I'd also suggest working on the antlers a little bit. Look at the antlers that we got in the Planet Zoo model compared to the antlers of the real animal. I think the overall, like the texture and the shape, most of the pictures I've seen of these antlers have more rounded shapes at the ends as well. And here we have only sharp ends to the antlers, and having more variety on this shape and more realism would be awesome for the reindeer, I think. Their hooves also look a lot larger, like look at the endings here of the legs, the hooves, and you can see that they are getting wider at the ends, but we don't see them getting so wide here in the reference image, and I've been looking at some pictures and they are not as wide as in the Planet Zoo model. So I think adjusting the size of the hoofs will also be great. And now we're down to the final two. Yes, I knew that you knew that this one was coming. I think everyone who has played Planet Zoo has thought about this at some point. We need a remastered lion, please Frontier. What can I say? I love lions. Lions are my favorite animals ever. But this one, the model looks cartoony. The mane, the shape of the snout, the eyes as well. The eyes of a lion should make you like fear the animal. And like you look at this over here, you can already see that this is an animal that you should be careful with. But the eyes of the lion in the model in Planet Zoo, they are not scary. So the lion should be the star of the game, being one of the most emblematic animals in the world. When we think about animals, the power, the strength of the lion is undisputable. It's my favorite animal ever, and yes, I've watched Disney's Lion King like 1,000 times, and I can't wait to build a zoo inspired by this movie, but with a more realistic lion pride, please. I want an official remaster. I'd also suggest remastering the female and the cubs to make them look more realistic. The male is like the priority, of course, because of the mane and the textures and overall the shape, but it would be awesome to have a realistic lion pride. However, in my list, the lion is not at the top. Yes, you might be surprised by this. There is another animal that I think is even more urgent to remaster, because despite the cartoony look of the lion, it is accurate. You have the mane, you have the right shapes overall in this model. However, this one I think is more urgent, the greater rhea. I think this model should be reworked as soon as possible if it's going to be included in Planet Zoo 2. It currently seems more based like on the ostrich and the bones of the feathers of the ostrich, but they are quite different in many aspects, including the feathers. The feathers of the greater rhea, as you can see in this reference image, they go sort of like backwards, but then they bend downwards, they twist downwards. This is a major issue, in my opinion, because in the model, we can see that the feathers are mostly going backwards. They don't have that twist downwards that is characteristic of the greater rhea. Here you can see that the feathers seem like they are wrapping around the shape. Also at the end, you can also see the feathers also like wrapping around the body. But that is not something that we see in the model over here, and I think it looks sort of like a middle ground between the greater rhea and the ostrich model. This should be fixed. I also think the neck in the Planet Zoo model is a bit too thick compared to the real animal. Like here we have the base of the neck that is a bit too muscular. The neck in the real animal is thinner and shorter and overall less muscular. You can see that this is a weaker animal than an ostrich, and here this is giving me more of the ostrich vibe, which is a lot larger and more muscular. Two main things here, the feathers and the neck. Shorter, thinner, and overall less muscular. That's what made me choose the greater rhea for the top of my remasters list. What do you think? Do you agree with my requests? What other animals would you like to see remastered in Planet Zoo 2? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.